Hello guys. It's a day when we're waiting for a new Call of Duty game. It's called Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Today it is coming in this November in 2025 of this year. Perhaps and everybody waited this 7 sequel of this game. Perhaps if we want to see Modern Warfare 4 as maybe we could want to see the fourth sequel of this reboot of from 2019. But how did you know we talk about that? Perhaps Call of Duty is among the best game franchise of all time. Perhaps if we talk about the containing of this every and new generation consoles. Perhaps in the year of 2025. Perhaps we don't know in 2026. These 8 generated console, they are PlayStation 4 and Xbox One will no longer contain. Maybe or not, I don't know. But here this reality, perhaps these consoles get older, they are no longer support of this. Today is we're going to talk about, oh yes, what if Call of Duty Black Ops 7 never released on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One? Are we going to talk about this? Oh yes, we are going to talk about this. This is a year 2000s. Anything technology is anywhere. In anything from movies, TV shows, comics, toys, and of course video games. And here also of birthplace of the year of the social media and it shows and everything is that doesn't change. And this is that it goes every music and any word of style it looks like this. Here is a 6th gen console are still and every day most popular and every single day are most powerful. And they change the new graphics. The ones that it looks like ones from the pixel look from the mid 1990s. In this doing ones from the late 90s and the early 2000s. But here it just goes in the cells and the toughest in the mind be a little bit was it. But the PS2 get more because it is number one of the best console ever. Military theme games already comes in the shows in here in the 2000s. And these franchise that you will want to talk about. And this is game genre only suitable for older and for hardcore players to learn of these skills as well. Medal of Honor is described as the first military first-person shooter. It comes that the game is polished by EA and delivered by DreamWorks Interactive and the director by a famous movie director known as Steven Spielberg. And he creators of Indiana Jones and Jurassic Park. And of course, it's of a movie of Saving Private Ryan. And this includes this movie as well. But the game franchise, and it comes in every of these titles, and it once original for PS1. And then comes more sequels in every platforms. And then it's a reboot from the 2010. And the ones that it goes and it changes goes in this greatest genres. Once the new one focus on fighting Afghanistan. As once after World War II is once this classic from 2000s. The last Medal of Honor game is called Medal of Honor Warfighter. Is the ones that delivered by Danger Close. And the ones that side the ones the Medal of Honor reboot from 2010. It's the ones that you fight against Afghanistan or Taliban's or those scumbags. But here is about a new one focused on a modern military shooter. Is a culture is different than World War II. They has includes the multiplayer and single player. It includes in the ones after and now EA they are no longer make this franchise anymore in this time. But they are focused maybe that now EA won't focus only Battlefield only. As one is a focus on only one first person shooter franchise as well. In 2001, the Halo was first introduced in a well. And here and shows every Xbox consoles and the PC and several on the phones as well. The game franchise that comes and it shows in 2001 and the last in 2010 is reached by Bungie. And now the change from in 343 Industries. And once it claims that it shows in this new game's a remaster and a sequel. And then in the 2024 reboot, it's the ones that a new company and changed to Halo Studios was born. And the ones that you want to see this new Master Chief or once a new Halo only exclusive on Xbox Series X and S and needing PC. But it may be that it shows in trailer in 2024. In here in 2002, the release of Battlefield. It was one that is created by a Swedish game company by DICE, and they work with EA side. This game is created by Johan Persson, and the ones that are most credited is franchise that comes other sequels and others in these cultures are different. Other comes military or other else ones that are different backgrounds. Including it comes in the 6th game, the Battlefield 6. It comes only available on the 9th gen console and of course PC will available. And these are ones are described as in ones of Call of Duties and is on before the rivals of Medal of Honor as well. In here in 2003, you got Call of Duty. Once after these other who left from Medal of Honor once they quit with EA and changed to work with Activision and created a true military shooter game called Call of Duty. And one's the most iconic franchises that goes every sequel for any single of the years. The creator has 4 developers where they are Infinity Ward, Treyarch, Sledgehammer, and Raven Software. Those 4 developers who stayed with Activision to create this franchise and every that sells for any the ones for include for PC and every single home version including game consoles as you play as well. Here is the first Call of Duty game released in October, and here is described is the PC exclusive, and that is described the game focused on in World War II. You play as between American, British, and the Soviet army. You must fight against the evil Nazi German army in this game as well. The game also have in 2009 the release on this console for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 only exclusive for downloading in this store. As once the PlayStation 3 has PlayStation Network and Xbox 360 has Xbox Live. And includes that the game you can play both single player and of course the multiplayer, and this test this game as well. Call of Duty Finest Hour is described as the first Call of Duty game exclusive for game console, for available for the PlayStation 2, original Xbox, and Nintendo GameCube. And the ones that these are the game console that they want to test this version of this Call of Duty game. They subscribe to the ones that are original only exclusive in PC and to test these controls and only this gamepad as well. Here released of Call of Duty 2. It once the release in 2005, it's available on PC, but it has on the new game console is Xbox 360. And the ones that here on the Xbox 360 has on first Call of Duty game. It's Call of Duty 2. It still contains as World War II theme. And this goes on the next sequel. In the between you plays these characters and during a Second World War. It has also on a multiplayer as well. And it's the greatest game you'll ever see. And also greatest Xbox console ever. Here is Call of Duty 2 Big Red One is described as Nintendo GameCube's last game. And here's available ones that GameCube does not have or make best controls with first-person shooter as like other in Nintendo 64 has an awkward controller. But here is other the play first-person shooters you don't know of Xbox and PS2 has the perfect controller. But maybe that it could just be everything your test is everything. But GameCube might be look okay. But others developers, other creators will make a worse design of gameplay style as well. Here is Call of Duty 3. It's grabbed as original Xbox last game. And here is why it is gone out the multiplayer is exclusive for next generated console. But perhaps the original Xbox has the perfect gameplay that styles other military shooters as well. But they also released on this first game for Nintendo Wii and the PlayStation 3. In this graph has a superior graphics. You don't ever detect this on one another last the World War II sequel of the game as well. There is a Call of Duty World at War Final Fronts. And it is the PlayStation 2's last Call of Duty game. It is focused on World War II, but this is more darker and scarier. But this version is rated T14. But the other rest of version is rated M for mature by ESRB. Perhaps the once the Call of Duty 4 is rated M for mature, and once this franchise will contain the M rating as well. But in Heroes of the PlayStation 2 will no longer contain more games for mature audience, and now that is the only that once the last one from 2009. The ones are no longer contains more those games for this platform as well. Here's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 from 2011. They are available on other platforms, but on a Nintendo Wii it's described as Wii's last Call of Duty game. Perhaps the player of first-person shooter games on Nintendo Wii, but the controllers might be a little annoying. But the graphics can be not most the best, but it is only the different describe. But it has some multiplayer as well. Until the Nintendo shut down in 2014, the online servers are no longer contained. But whatever other rest of console are still contains, but it did not ever shut down as well. But they could whatever shut them. But this 7th gen console are still contains online, but it is still popular franchise as well. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is one of the best Call of Duty games from 2012. Many heroes on a Nintendo Wii U release, but Nintendo Wii U's first Call of Duty game is Call of Duty Black Ops 2. It focuses on the second sequel once from the Cold War. Many heroes is a fight over a futuristic background. In heroes in the game as you face against some terrorist group from Middle East, and others are a new terrorist group in Central America, or in a fight against the Chinese as well. In the game is focused on this new backgrounds in that you play some American military groups. In this game, its craft has best multiplayer, and eating a cause of a single player is among the greatest as well. And here is Call of Duty Ghosts. And the heroes are the ones that Nintendo Wii U's last game as well, but it did not contain the most sequel perhaps of Activision other than maybe Call of Duty lovers are not interested in Wii U anymore. But the game also described as the first Call of Duty game for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. The rise of these 8th gen console are still the rise and new graphics in a way powerful and really focused on the 4K even more than the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. It includes in the game as a new force in this new one. In order it could be called another spin-off for this character from the Modern Warfare 2. But it's a focus on American heroes as well instead of the British. But you fight against the Venezuelan mercenary or others military group as well. Here is Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and the one described as Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3's last game of this franchise. Perhaps the game has the multiplayer and zombie mode, but it has to be that they do not have a campaign. Now that is kind of sound like the almost sad moment. This is a most shocking reason, but it's only exclusive for next-gen console and PC you can have a campaign. This class is the last game as well, but then here comes of in next of Infinity Warfare never released at last gen, but only this consoles as new one is because Activision designed for that. There is a Call of Duty World War II, and it once described the first and last Nintendo Switch game. But perhaps the Sledgehammer do not care to making more on a Nintendo Switch game on this Call of Duty franchise. And that was a shame. It should have more Call of Duty games on Nintendo Switch, but perhaps the graphics in this is not maybe as strong. But perhaps this cannot be handheld graphics. It cannot be the more like in this classic annoying retro graphics cultures you know. Here is a Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, or also known as Black Ops 5. The one is described as the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S first Call of Duty game, and ones that are focused on the Cold War genre that it is and faced in the year of 1980s. But perhaps then it is that Gravis has released a test before they included each version. In the choosing this is a game at the first in the periods of this for 9th gen console are still the negotiation shows in the early 2020s. Here is a Call of Duty Black Ops 7, and this is the next sequel and show in 2025 in this Call of Duty franchise. The ones that will focus on the more sci-fi pictures in the ones just like in Black Ops 6 to focus on in the next warfare in the 90s. Many heroes that contains the sci-fi as well. Many heroes that contain these platforms as well. But it did not ever show Nintendo Switch 2. But if a Switch 2 is in this version, it cannot be cool. But maybe they'll let we know. We're gonna talk about these consoles as now. And here is a PS4, also known as PlayStation 4, and XB1, also known as Xbox One. And here's these are an 8th generated console, and that are almost in it contains this on the here in 2013. When here's another Call of Duty games that it contains. And here's the what happening if of Call of Duty Black Ops 7 will never release of this version. You don't know to think about. Do you really think that version might be we skip on the this oldest console? Oh well, let's talk about this. Here is the plan that Activision want to speak with Treyarch and Raven Software to cancel on this version on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One version on this 7th sequel of Black Ops franchise. When once they will never release, once the Activision want the plan to cancel this version, or else there'll be a trouble that is so now. Once Treyarch and Raven Software and any others developers once would stop making those games for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, perhaps the ones that they are planned to remove it away. If the days that are happening under the ones that they're doing 2026, that means that those consoles will no longer contain and make more games. But perhaps that means that others are players who could have wanted. But at this time, the next gen is more powerful than the older ones. That cannot be only this planned for developers who want to ever serve to do it. Years after, once they remove of this version of these platforms of this game, and here also Call of Duty Black Ops 7 will never release on the PS4 and the XB1 once this version was cancelled. But perhaps mostly that console are probably too weak because of online. Perhaps the graphics cannot be are totally too old. Perhaps the ones that only you must have the next gen console if you got it or not. But you can play PC. The PC is more powerful and you can get them more. All of these games are the ones but it's described that will contain only the next gen and these 9th gen at once. Once after cancellation of this 8th gen console of the Call of Duty Black Ops 7 for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and here's that is happening of this console version will not ever plan to play as well. But it gears in on a happening of an Activision or here these developers will quit. But they cause the data the gamers. And describe it once that they decide you need only in the next gen if you got it. But in this 7th sequel, you can have more power and this abilities. But here you play at the older gen, it can be more weaker and slow only. Did you know about that? However, but in the year, but once these consoles are come from past. But here, in these players, if you are a PS4 or Xbox One gamer, or whatever, you wanted to play this version, but now it's passed away. But the only you need to be the PS5 or Xbox Series X and S player, and you can change the play 7th gen. But perhaps let this console version of those will rest in peace
forever.
Yeah. Of course. We think a PlayStation 4 and Xbox One needs a timeout for this. Perhaps we must wait for this 10 generated platforms. I know that the year of this gaming year 2025 is among the most ugliest year ever. I hate 2025. Yeah. I don't know whether watching this news or watching these bad news, everything has changed. I know in this year of the modern years, and every year I'm watching these ugly news, and this is gonna be a more bizarre. Why are these creators in the video games do anything stupidities? No offense. Okay, well, Black Ops 7 will be the last game from this 8th gen consoles. Perhaps we know that I wish Black Ops 7 could release on Nintendo Switch 2. And it could be a great idea. Maybe developers maybe don't care. Maybe we wait before if they design what you learn of this to find this modern console is tough. And however, between hardware and software are different. Yeah. Well. You don't know whatever is if Black Ops 7 will be my last Call of Duty game or not. You don't know. Maybe you don't know what we wait for. It's coming soon, and don't worry.